YouTube! This might be my last video for today because technically I have Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 Episode 9 titled Left Behind, but I also have Supergirl Season 1 Episode 18 titled World's Finest, which is by far my favorite Supergirl episode, but I don't know if I might not have time to get to it because it's like 5 something right now and I still have to get ready and stuff. So this might be it for today until later on, possibly maybe Monday? Between Saturday and Monday I will have Supergirl episode 18 titled World's Finest recorded, hopefully uploaded, and then I'll probably also, around maybe Monday, I'll also have the season finale of Walking Dead also recorded, hopefully. But anyway, let's do this! Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 9, Left Behind. And from what we remember, Ray, Sarah, and Kendra were, packing up their stuff and all that because they were in 1958. They were, like, incognito and playing parts and all that stuff, so Ray, Sarah, and Kendra, packing up their lives in 1958 while the others were already on the ship. Unfortunately, Kronos came out of nowhere, wrecked up their ship. They had no choice but to leave, which pretty much stranded stranded Ray, Sarah, and Kendra in 1958. So apparently, what happens on the Wave Rider during that whole thing is apparently Kronos disables the Wave Rider ship and then flees back into the time stream. Unfortunately, during that whole thing, he disables Wave Rider. At the same time, he kidnaps Snart and then flees back into the time stream, leaving Rip and the others, pretty much stranded a little bit, right? So Rip is forced to reset Gideon to pretty much undo Kronos' sabotage, leaving the ship and pretty much temporarily stranded in the time stream. So, there's that. So Kronos took Snart. Sarah, Kendra, and Ray are stuck in 1958. Kronos took Snart, and Rip and the others are pretty much in their ship, temporarily stranded in the time stream because Kronos is a dick. But anyway, while all that's happening, apparently Ray, Sarah, and Kendra are stuck in 1958. They're waiting for the others to come back for them, all that stuff. And apparently, during that whole entire wait time, apparently 2 whole years have passed. And Ray, Sarah, and Kendra have been stuck in 1958 for 2 years. So now it's like 1960 for Ray, Sarah, and Kendra. And during those 2 years that they were stuck there in 1958, Ray and Kendra end up building a life together. And while that's happening, Sarah she feels out of place, so she's like, I need to find somewhere where I belong. So during those 2 years, when they're stuck on 1958, so between 1958 and 1960 for Ray, Sarah, and Kendra, Ray and Kendra build a life together, they have a home, they're together, they're in a relationship. Sarah feels like she's an outsider, so she goes to the one place where she thinks she'll fit in. So, in her perspective, where she thinks she can fit in, she rejoins the League of Assassins. Yeah! She goes to the League of Assassins practically 50 years before she technically joined. Yeah. Anyway, luckily, Rip was able, with the help of Gideon, was able to reset Gideon and get back to the Stranded 3 in 1960. So the Rip and the rest of the team, with the exception of Snart because he was kidnapped, but Rip and the rest of the team arrived in 1960 to get Ray and Kendra. And Kendra, she's all gung-ho, ready to go. She's back in her normal clothes, while Ray's like, what happened? Ray, he's like, why? He's basically looking at Kendra saying, why are you so eager to go back to this life? We had a beautiful life together for 2 years together. And you're so easily they're back, we're good, haha, and all that stuff. Even though technically Ray was the first one out of all 3 of them, to not give up hope on Rip and the others. He's like, they're gonna come, they're gonna show up, right? And he ends up building using parts from his actual atom suit. He builds some sort of homing device or something to try to get Rip and the others to come back for them, right? And Rip was the one person that didn't give up hope, and then finally, with the help of Kendra, decided, build a life with her. And now, despite the fact that he was the one that did not want to quit on Rip and the others, Kendra was the one that told him to just enjoy the moment, get into character here in 1958, and then all of a sudden they come back, Rip and them come back, and Kendra's the first one to leave. And pretty much dismember their little life together, which of course hurts Ray because he believes, they had such a happy life together, why do you want to get rid of it so soon, you know what I mean? So I don't blame Ray on that, but at the same time, it's like, Kendra, you're the one that got Ray so invested in the life together in 1958, and 2 years together, and then you're just like the first one to just oh, they're back! Life's gone. It's like, she's the one that convinced Ray to live life in 1958, and yet they come back and she gives up that life all without any hint of remorse, honestly. Anyway, they figured out, Kendra, during the whole conversation with Ray, actually figures out where Sarah has gone because they lost track of her for 2 years. And they're like, they think that Sarah may have gone back to the League of Assassins to something she knew, so they end up traveling to Nanda Parbat in 1960 to rescue Sarah. And, Rip brings them all with him, right? Kendra, Ray, Stein, Jax. They're all with Rip outside, but he's like, you guys stay here just in case. I'm gonna go get Sarah. And so he ends up in Sarah's room, and Sarah, it seems like everything's okay because she wakes him and all that. It's like, Sarah, it's me. And she's like, Rip, it's you. Is it really you? And he's like, yeah, it's me. And it's like, what about the others? Oh, they're all outside just waiting for us to come. Let's go. All of a sudden, she starts speaking her other language. I don't know what language the League of Assassins speak. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. But she starts speaking that other language, and she tackles Rip and, attacks him and pretty much warns the entire League that there are intruders, protect Ra's al Ghul and all that stuff. And it's like, what the hell? It's like, they came to rescue Sarah. It seems like she was fine, but apparently she's been fully committed to Ra's al Ghul's mission and basically turns the team over to him and says that they're trespassers. And it's like, Sarah! She knew it was Rip. She asked about the team, and yet she goes all League of Assassins on everybody and warning them that they're there on the premises, and then they all get captured. And since they're trespassers, according to League of Assassins tradition, trespassers have to be executed. I thought it was pretty funny because Ray's like, damn it, I'm back again. Because if you guys remember in Arrow, when Oliver was Al-Sahim, Ray was trapped in the League of Assassins dungeon with Felicity, Diggle, Laurel, and Malcolm Merlin. So him being prisoner again in Nanda Parbat must be so much fun, especially since it's 50 years in the past. But anyway, during that whole imprisonment, Rip remembers that, the League does go by tradition, just like, the tradition is trespassers be executed. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to follow another tradition they have. So he pretty much invokes the trial by combat ritual that the League of Assassins have to save the team. And he assumes that, since he challenged Ra's al Ghul to this trial by combat ritual, that Ra's al Ghul was going to be the one to fight. But Ra's al Ghul's like, you know what? I'm Ra's al Ghul. I could choose whatever I want. And you know what? I choose Sarah to fight in my stead. And you can choose whoever you want. If you want to fight Sarah, go ahead. But you can choose any one of your little warriors. But I choose Sarah. So, Ra's al Ghul chooses Sarah to be his champion for the trial by combat ritual. And funny thing is, Ray actually volunteers. And he's like, no, you can't fight. And he pretty much sends Kendra. Mainly because you remember that moment that Sarah and Kendra had when they were fighting each other over, warrior priestess versus bloodthirsty resurrected assassin fight that they had. That was pretty much Rip's goal. Hopefully, he thinks that Kendra fighting Sarah will bring Sarah back to them. I forgot what he said. He said something about there was actually a word for it. That her brain is like, she knows us, but since she spent so much time in this foreign timeline, that's not her timeline, her brain is starting to slightly integrate into that timeline. So he's hoping Kendra will probably fight it out of her, you know what I mean? So Kendra and Sarah are fighting the trial by combat on Rip and Ra's al Ghul's behalf. And elsewhere, when this is all happening, before this whole everything happens, Kronos, has Snart in his little ship. And Snart's wondering why, out of everybody, Kronos kidnaps Snart. Why not kidnap, Rip? Because Rip is the Time Master. And then we get the shock of our lives when Kronos opens his helmet and it turns out Kronos is actually Mick Rory. And we also found out that during that little cliffhanger with Snart and Rory, it turns out that Snart did not kill Rory. He aimed at a tree, but instead of freezing him, he was like aiming at a tree, and Mick Rory was like, "Oh, see, I told you couldn't hurt me and kill me and all that stuff," but he ends up knocking Rory out and leaving him there. And apparently, when he left Mick Rory there, he was found by the Time Masters, and they trained him. They pretty much put him in like a temporal zone where he couldn't really age and shit like that. Time does not move where he was. And so they found him and trained him to be their bounty hunter the whole time, right? And yeah, Rory's alive. Snart never killed him, and he became Kronos. What a freaking mind-blown moment for me. Not gonna lie to you, I was actually curious why it was Snart, and I honestly didn't think that Snart had it in him to kill Rory, honestly, because they had this bond. They were partners, and the first time Snart ever got in trouble, Rory was the one that protected him first. So I was kind of hesitant to think that he actually killed Rory. I actually did think he left him there, which is actually proven true, but I did not think that he would be taken in by the Time Masters and trained as a bounty hunter and was Kronos. It's like, what the hell just happened, right? But anyway, I realize I'm running out of time. I'm going to do another video. Hang on, okay?